Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today, me and my friend will discuss about our presentation of second ISAS. And now, before we start our presentation, I will introduce ourselves. First, my name is Azzam ZAIDAN from 1CC 7 class as a moderator. And my friend,
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ALODIA NATHANIA from 1CC 7 class group 1.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is SENO LAKSONO and I'm from 1CC 7 class group 1.
in this presentation, I will discuss about protection system on iOS. And now, I want to explain about iOS. iOS is a mobile operating system developed by Apple. It was originally named by iPhone OS but was later replaced with iOS in June 2009. iOS currently runs on iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad. Like a modern desktop operating system, iOS uses a graphical user interface or GUI. However, because it is a mobile operating system, iOS is designed around touchscreen input, not keyboard and mouse. Protection system. Protection is a system that used to protect our information from computer system. Protection refers to someone controlling access by program, processor, or user the system resources. In some systems, the protection is done by a so-called reference monitor. If there is access to protect PC resources, the system will first ask the monitor reference whether or not that access is allowed. Furthermore, the reference monitor will determine the decision of whether the access is allowed or denied. In a simple term, this protection image can be described by the concept of a domain. Now, my friend ALODIA NATHANIA will explain about protection purpose, protection system mechanism on iOS, and protection for iPhone hardware, input and output, and memory.
So today I would like to explain about protection purpose. Sometimes the principle that is often used in a project, in this case, is the operating system design. By following stabilized principles, it can simplify the design process and the results in a consistent and easily compatible system. One of the most important trait and taste principles is the smallest privilege. This principle can dictate program users and even the system to give a privilege like special access right to carry out existing tasks. And the protection has several purposes, including first, to protect grant permissions and regulate the use of resources in the system, both physical resources like memory, processor, computer networks, and data or informations. Second, ensuring the system is not interrupted and disturbed. And third, avoid, prevent, and overcome threats to the system. Next, about the protection system mechanism on iOS. Protection mechanism on the iOS operating system to control access to several protected objects in the operating system. This object can be hardware such as camera, microphone, audio, and other, or software such as programs, process, file, database, and other. The contents of the file are encrypted with a generated keyword, which is wrapped in the class K and stored in the metadata file, which is encrypted with the system file key. Class keys are protected by a hardware UID and for classes by user passcode. This hierarchy results in performance and performance. For examples, modifying a file requires only rewriting of its profile and changing a passcode only rewrites the class key. And the last about the protection for iPhone hardware, input and output, and memory. Many programming errors are detected by hardware. This error is usually handled by the operating system. If a program error occurs, the hardware will be forwarded to the operating system and the operating system will interrupt and end it. An error message is sent and memory from the program is discarded. But the wasted memory is usually stored on disk so that the programmer can fix the error and run the program again. One such hardware protection is memory protections by limiting memory usage. Here are some terms, namely, first, base register is the initial physical memory address allocated or usable by the user. Next, about the limit register, which is the limit value of the initial physical memory address allocated or allowed to be used by the user. And the last are hardware protections.
Now, my friend, SENO Dwi Laksono will explain about access right, protection feature, and iOS protection issues.
Access right. Access rights are rights given to users to access the system. Perhaps access rights are the most basic thing in the field of protection. In the protection strategy, every object in the system must be given access rights that are useful to support the work function of the object. In other words, the object only the minimum permissions. Protection feature. Apps on iOS have explicitly asked for your permission to use the camera and microphone. And from iOS 14 onwards, you'll also see an indicator dot in the top right of the screen when these functions are being used. Green means camera and orange means microphone. 1. Number 1. Limit access to photos and location. iOS 14 includes a couple of new ways that you can give apps certain permissions, but only up to a point. The idea is that there are some apps you trust a bit more than others in terms of looking at your photos or checking where you are. Number 2. Sniff out bad passwords. Apple has been able to sync the passwords and other login credentials for your various accounts across all of your Apple hardware via iCloud for a while now. This applies macOS as well as iOS. To see the Apple has stored in the cloud from your iPhone, choose password from settings. Number 3. Discourage Wi-Fi tracking. One small but potentially significant change to Wi-Fi security in iOS 14 is the use private address feature that you'll notice if you open the Wi-Fi menu from settings and then tap the blue info button on the right of the network that you're connected to. Number 4. Now when apps snoop on your clipboard. If you see a message about apps pasting clipboard information from other apps at the top of your iPhone screen, don't panic. That's just a new clipboard notification feature in iOS kicking into action. As the iOS 14 beta program revealed, plenty more apps monitor the clipboard than you will actually think, even before you've actually pasted anything. Number 5. Limit apps tracks you. Another change in iOS 14 is that app will have to specifically request permission to track you across other apps and sites. However, after complaints from advertisers, most notably in Facebook, which in August said the move would severely impact its lucrative audience network, this feature won't be fully enforced until sometime next year. Number 6. Fat apps for privacy info. One iOS 14 features that Apple has announced for iOS 14, but which hasn't yet gone live, is app privacy cards. When the feature does appear, these cards will give you more details about how apps make use of the data they collect from you. Number 7. Getting privacy reports from Safari. The ability to block cross-site tracking cookies in Safari isn't new in iOS 14. As before, you can find the option under Safari in Settings. Turning on prevent cross-site tracking makes it much harder for advertisers to link together your browsing activity across the different websites. iOS protection issues. Even though iOS has implemented sophisticated technology in its protection system, protection on iOS also has several gaps in the problem that have occurred. Here are the protection problems that have occurred on iOS. Number 1. Jailbreak. Jailbreak is a technique that gives your iOS device such as iPhone and iPad more freedom. As the name suggests, jailbreak can be interpreted as destroying the present. It's perfect for describing a rigid and restrictive iOS. Number 2. Disable lock screen feature. As the quoted by Forbes, when locked, a person can simply make a call using Siri. Once the call is connected, turn it into a FaceTime video call and hit Add Contact.
And this is conclusion of this presentation. The protection on iOS is considered quite effective because users feel that the data store rarely experience and data leakage, and the protection problems that are caused are only a few. Protection on iOS has very high level security. It is very difficult for illegal files to install into your iPhone, so that user will feel safe from the threat of thief of important data on their iPhone. Suggestion: for user, the author recommend to not to jailbreak your iPhone because it will turn off your protection system on your iPhone. It allows a criminal to steal your data. Thank you for watching our presentation video.
See you.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.